We left off with step 4, which was design satisfaction. So hopefully you got all your motifs set, at least in place. You've walked away, you've maybe taken a smartphone photo and looked at it in perspective and are ready to fuse. This is Midnight Pumpkin with Laura Bosma, Pretty Penny Precuts, and the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum. This is the finished project made as a mat or a oval table runner. And again, made the suggestion that perhaps you wanted to leave it and make a pillow out of it. And that's what I'm going to do with this second or third time that I will be stitching it. So I have set my motifs. I've edited out one of the 7 flowers and only did 6 for right now. And we're ready to steam fuse in place. I do need you to follow my directions for steam fusing because of this particular type and the properties of this fusible. So what I've asked you to do is have an iron, have a source of water, and have a press cloth. I've included a muslin press cloth if you've opted for the Threads and Notions kit. So once you've got them all finger pressed in place, they are temporary. Now we need to make them permanent. And the way you make it permanent with this particular fusible, whether you're ironing directly onto wool, or in my case, I've opted for the flannel version for this pillow, is to put a press cloth, a dampened press cloth over it. It needs to be steam fused, and we're talking not a little bit, we're talking a lot. And the beauty of this particular fusible is you cannot overpress it, so don't feel like you're gonna hurt it. The only time I caution you about overpressing is if you're using a very off-white or white wool. Those two can scorch because of how they're treated to get them to that particular color. But all the rest of this should have no trouble steam fusing at all. So here's my dampened press cloth. You can use a spray bottle. Honestly, you know, I go to the lowest common denominator and I just have about a half a cup of water any given time. Why do I do it this way instead of using the steam capability on my iron? There are a lot of reasons. This is the first one. In studio, I'm using this tiny little travel iron, and I need you to see where the steam holes are. That is not enough. I mean, if you're using a really good steam fusing iron for wool, we're talking, it's got 50 holes. It may have more than 50 holes, and they're micro fine holes. So that's not enough. The second reason is, and this is a little bit of Iron 101 information, we think, or we have surmised as quilters, that the way we're blowing up our steam irons is that we're using up all the water and then we're adding cold water to a hot iron and we're damaging all the seals inside. Rather than mess with that at all, because I have eaten through a number of expensive irons, I buy the cheapest iron I can find that gets hot enough and stays hot enough, and I simply provide the water to steam myself, just like this, the old guard way, which is with a fusible. So once you've got your iron hot enough, you'll have it at about a cotton setting. What I want you to do is just figure out how much room you have on the sole plate of your particular iron. I don't have much. And you're gonna simply set it down, you know, in, let's say we're gonna go right here. And you're going to apply some pressure, and you're going to count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. You might count up to 1007 or 1010, and then you're going to lift that away. I hope that you can really see I have gone from a dampened press cloth to a dry one. That is what our end goal is. When you're just steaming with your iron, I don't think you can see that. I don't believe you intuitively know you've steamed enough without visually seeing this was wet, now it's dry. That should do it. If that doesn't do it, meaning it's not holding it down, you've let this cool and it still lifts a little bit when you test it with your fingernail, I literally want you to take the entire project, turn it to the reverse side. Remember, we fused all over it, so it's not going to move. Turn it to the reverse side and repeat that all over again. So I'm going to turn this to the wrong side. I am going to lay this down. I can feel where my motifs are, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to lay that there, and I'm going to do it again. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, and then I'm going to lift. And I know, again, that that portion of the press cloth is dry, so I know I've done good enough. I would move all over this. If the press cloth isn't big enough, you need to wet it again and move it over and do it again. You cannot over iron this particular fusible. It will continue to work. Now, if you find you've done both those steps I've asked you to do, fuse it from the front, fuse it from the back. If you find it still lifts as you carry it around and stitch on it, not a problem. Take it back to the iron and fuse it again. Even if it's got stitches on it, I don't want you to worry about that. Some people say, oh, I'm going to flatten it. You will, but just the humidity of you working on it in your home and the humidity from your hands, that wool and those stitches will kind of puff back up over time. So don't feel like you're going to flatten it. It's not velvet, so we don't have to worry about it becoming permanently damaged by flattening it. I hope you've got the steam fuse part down. That was step 5. You need to do it and do it well. And I'll see you in step 6.